focusing role, right?
I used to dance under the name Highly Hindered. Hi, everybody. This is Jason.
This is Pete.
And this is the Lost Legions podcast. And what are we here to talk to you today about, Pete?
There's only one psychic power that you need.
There is only one psychic power that you need, unfortunately.
Out of 12, roughly?
6 disciplines. And then I think
2 per discipline. Why are we arguing? Why are we debating how many there are?
We're all friends here.
Yeah, we're all friends. But there's only one that you need. It's irrelevant. It could be 100. There's only one.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, you've somehow psychically changed my mind.
Yeah.
I wonder what that is. Well, let's talk about the 6 core disciplines, maybe.
Yeah.
So we could kind of run through all of them really quick, and then we could kind of jump into the clear winner. I mean, and then and Pete and I will talk. I mean, what do you mean clear winner?
The honourable mentions first, and then the more dishonourable mentions.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So we got. So you got them up? Do you want me to bring them up?
I'll just run through the names.
Cool. Perfect.
We can dive into it. So for the core disciplines, there are, and I'll just talk about the 2 first. Everyone can access 2 powers. That everybody can use force, which is you can use with weapons, force weapons. Some people even have access to force shooting weapons. I think it's only 1 legion, but maybe there will be more. Maybe there is more than one. Please leave your comments below if I'm wrong. 1,000 Suns. It's the 1,000 Suns. And then everyone has the etheric lightning psychic weapon, which is just an 18-inch range, assault 4, AP 4, strength 3, blast with force. Force just means if you do a psychic check, it's double the strength, so your strength 6. Ooh. And yeah, but everyone has the your friend's emperor power.
Yeah. Lightning for everyone.
Yeah, everybody's got like emperor force lightning, so that's cool. And then you pick one of a bunch of different disciplines. There's a couple of unique Legion ones. The Space Wolves have one. The White Scars have one. I think that the Word Bearers kind of have one.
Salamanders. The
Salamanders have one. Yeah.
But we're focusing on the core ones, right?
This is about the core ones. Yeah. You can get. There's different mileage depending on what you're doing with the other ones. But this is the core disciplines that we're talking about. So there's biomancy, divination, pyromancy, telekinesis, telepathy, thaumaturgy, and those are the different disciplines. So let's just cut to the chase. Pete, what is the clear winner out of all of those?
Well, it's this one on the left here. The telepathy, of course.
Yeah. And
why?
After many events and kind of a bunch of just playing, and honestly, I'm guilty of myself of using telepathy a lot, especially with my Night Lords. It just does 2 things extremely well. It has 1 power that basically cancels reactions. And this allows you so much control on the battlefield. It is absolutely out of control. It's just brutal. I've
played against it recently against your Night Lords librarian, right? And not to butt in here, Jay, but you're right. The cancelling of the reactions is such a reactions now that I've got my head around them. Such a fun and integral part of the game now. Like the game can be won or lost on reactions quite easily. So to remove an entire part of the game from your opponent, I don't know, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth personally.
You really don't like this.
Don't even because you don't even get a chance to like deny it in any way,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I'm a little bit different than you on this one. Yeah. I do actually like it. I do think that there is. It needs like a deny the witch or something. Like you do need a chance against it, right? Because it just goes off and you just take it.
Yeah.
And it's brutal. It's not even like you can buy something to upgrade to save yourself, maybe, right? Like it's just, you have to take it. I do think it's cool though. Like mechanically, I like this and I like the way it works. I do wish it was a tiny bit. I just wish there was a little bit more of a chance, like for it to work. I mean, because basically what happens is at the beginning of any phase, the Psyker can do this, can select any unit within 24 inches. And in that phase, that unit, if he passes a psychic check, cannot make any reactions. And also, like, kind of reading into this, something that I think that is a little bit slept on that is kind of permissible in the rules is you can do this in your opponent's phase.
Yeah.
So you could turn off them from shooting. The thing is you can only do it once a turn. So that's the entire thing. That's turn one. So like your turn and his turn, you could do it once. So know when you're going to do it. And it's just super powerful. And it really is game changing. A lot of times, like I land with my librarian and I turn off their Overwatch and I just charge in.
Yeah.
Or, it's absolutely brutal. The other thing you could do, which I've done before with my Alpha Legion, is I turned off your movement reaction. I jumped up to Pete and he was trying to move back and I'm like, no. Well, I turned off his movement reaction, then I jumped up. But like, I was like, no, you're not going to move back. And he just had to eat the charge.
I agree with you. It is on paper, on first glance, first impression, it's really quite fun and quite cool because it's allowing you to like just push your way through and like find that gap you can then exploit and tear your opponent apart. That's what it can give you. It can give you that foot in the door, which is really cool. But it's just there's just nothing you can do about it, and it's just a bit interesting. You could argue a psychic hood,
that's
help,
I think literally the only thing you can do about it.
Is adamantium will? Is that like you get to deny psychic attacks against you? Is that right? I'm not sure how it works, but or am I thinking of something else? I know some Primarchs have adamantium will, don't they?
Primarchs have it, yeah. And I think some other units have it. I'm not really sure. It doesn't come up very much is the problem. Like, it's definitely not as prevalent as it was before. But this is, that's basically a big problem, is that you can just get shut down by this. But again, like I like it, but I kind of think it's a little overused. I think part of the problem is because telepathy is such a clear winner. I think part of the problem is that you end up with a lot more telepathy librarians in any sort of like event. And like, so the thing is I don't know if it's terrible, but the problem is that it's so prevalent that you're always dealing with it because there's so rarely a different kind of librarian.
And it's not like let's say, I don't know, las cannon heavy support teams are always chosen, right? So you can then build something around to deal with that, right? Like, I'll take a Scorpius to deal with them at length, right? We've spoken about this before, right? There just isn't anything you can do to stop that thing from doing what it's going to do. You know what I mean? I think that's the big issue with it, isn't it? Is that, and you're right. It makes the whole psychic, it makes the whole librarian option a little bit dull because you're just seeing telepathy, right? And I think you're right. That those two things are the kind of issue.
And I wouldn't say that you see nothing but librarians, but when you see librarians, which are a lot more common now, I would say, most of the time they're telepathy librarians. And that's just kind of, I think, a problem with the way the rules are. And I wouldn't even say that the other rules are necessarily bad, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But like, it is that this is clearly so useful. And I guess let's kind of move on to the other power, because I think that honestly the other power is the bigger problem, less than this one. This one is great. It is top 10. Top tier power, amazing, but I don't think just by itself it is what makes you see every telepathy librarian.
Yeah.
What is the other power? Do you want to jump into
the telepathic hallucinations, right? So essentially with this, you You get 6 shots. It's assault 6. You make a test to see if you can cast it. You then, for every hit you score from these 6 shots, your opponent must make a pinning test at minus the amount of hits you have to their leadership. That's right, yeah?
No, it's bonus. So it's different. They add this to their leadership roll.
Oh, okay. Right. So you make a leadership roll of 7, and your leadership was 9, but I hit you 4 times, so you actually roll an 11 instead of a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
got you. Okay. Yeah. So it forces you. So your leadership. Yeah. So you're highly hindered. You're hindered greatly against your role. The success of passing a roll. Right.
I used to dance under the name highly hindered.
It means like anything that's leadership. I mean, if you get the 6 hits, which isn't. Well, you're likely to get the 5 hits on a BS5 model, right? That is the math, right? So on a leadership 8 dude, like a sergeant, you're going to need to roll a 3 on 2d6 to stay. And that's without adding night fight or any other rules in play.
Are you calling me mean because I use hallucination on you when it's nighttime and you're scared of me and then take 6 hits?
Yeah.
And then, okay,
but it's just a bit. It just feels like it was. It just feels like it was written a little bit lazily. Like, I mean, even if you have to score wounds, it would make sense. Or just the hits on BS5. Why even
again, it's
have
a
the rule?
cool idea. It's just really brutally executed, right?
Yeah. Range 36 as well is huge.
Even if it was just like take a pinning check at -1, it would be killer.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's a guaranteed pin. Sorry, did we say that this pins? This is the problem. You have to take a pinning check.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty much a guaranteed pin. And like I said, if it was take a pinning check at -1, that would be fine. That would be good. The other thing is that it's a shooting attack. So you can do it on Overwatch. You can do it when they charge you. You can do it when you shoot. So like it is their psychic weapon. You have to take a check, so you could perils, but like it is absolutely brutal and game-changing because you pin the units that are charging you. So unless they're fearless, and here's the other thing. It works against stubborn because it's not a minus. It doesn't modify their leadership.
Yeah.
It's adding to the leadership roll. So what happens is you're stubborn 10, that's great. Now you still need to roll under your leadership to pass your check.
Yeah. Because you're going to add on 5 on average with this power to that dice roll.
So you're stubborn 10, that's great. Roll a 5.
Yeah. It's so good, isn't it?
It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And I think that this is part of the reason why you see the librarians. And it's the combo. They have both of them. Not only can they shut down your reactions, which I actually think is good. And I think psychic powers should have fucking good powers. It is, and I know you hate it, and I'm sorry, but I think the telepathic hallucination is where the overpoweredness is, and the fact that they have both of them is why you.
I think that's the big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This isn't even like a major power and a different power. This is both. They're both of them.
Yeah, out of all of the powers in here, they are the 2 best, probably. Right? Definitely hallucinations, and then
Emperor Lightning.
And how often have you used Emperor Lightning?
Never.
Exactly.
Until I was researching for this, and I was like, oh yeah, can all shoot lightning too.
So, talking of the most powerful, I think we did want to add an honorable mention for 2 other ones, which you could take yourself off of the S tier power list, and maybe go for like an A tier or a B tier power. What did you?
Okay. Yeah, so these are really good, and I think that Pete and I were talking about these, and we're like, well, what other ones do you think are good, and how could you use them? And I think I think a lot of these are really good, and I'd say almost all of them are usable now. It's just that telepathy is so much better. So the one that I really like and that I want to use is biomancy, and I think biomancy has a lot of legs. I think that the biomanic augmentation power is really cool. So you can always, in making a shooting attack, and this is key, So in making a shooting attack, instead of making a shooting attack, you can give yourself +1 strength, or you make a psychic roll and you give yourself +1 strength and +1 toughness, or any unit within 6, really. But it only lasts for that turn, so that player turn. So it does turn off, but it can be used in Overwatch and it can be used in return fire because it's a shooting attack. So if you're getting charged in your turn, you can then turn on +1 toughness. So if you're getting charged by power fists, you could turn on +1 toughness. It can be key.
That's really cool, actually.
Really, really good. And yeah, exactly. So you can survive some Thunderhammer hits, maybe. Like, it is absolutely great, I think, for survivability, especially for Terminators or something like that. And I think that it can, if you use it strategically, it can be really clutch. I think definitely it's something that you're going to want to take with, Terminators is what comes to mind with me, right? Because these are the guys who are facing the Strength 8 Power Fists, things that can double them out. That's the kind of thing. Even I would say my Night Lord Night Raptors, when I charge in, this would not be bad besides telepathy to take with them, because they get +1 strength and then they can survive against Terminators when Terminators pop them.
Yeah.
With one hit. But it's going to shine so much more when you are a Terminator and your guys are not dying, and they are, because you have toughness 5 and they don't. Caveats against certain Terminators with 10 strength 10 power fists. But yeah, I think it's really good.
I think it's a good place. I think, I like it a lot.
It has legs. It's not as overpowered as it used to be with Iron Arm. Like, it is usable.
Yeah.
It's good. It's tactical. There's a lot of legs with it. And the other thing that I think is really good is the Biomancer's Rage psychic weapon, which basically with the psychic test makes you Mephiston. You are strength 10, AP 4, rending 4 up, and you just start ripping tanks apart. Strength 10 rending, right? Like, with your hands. So you could turn your attack stat into you just punch stuff to death. So I love it. Like, let's say, this is great too, because you could take a force sword and, you can run up against Terminators, no problem. I'm just I'm toughness 5, by the way, because when you charged in, I used my shooting attack, and now I'm going to use my my Biomancer's Rage and totally become strength 10 and just rip you in half. It's cool, very themey, and I think good. So overall, I give a tier to the Biomancy, which we don't see all that much because all we see is telepathy.
Yeah.
So why don't we jump to you? What do you like? What is your A tier?
Yeah. So the one I'm looking to run on my librarian, I am planning to take in my Empress Children, is the divination discipline. The divinatory Aegis in particular is the power that interests me. I think it pairs nicely with the high initiative striking in close combat with certain units. So essentially what this does is you take a test on your librarian, the leadership test to cast. You don't have to. You can just do a safe one without pushing for that test, which might be quite handy in certain situations, like especially if there's a psychic hood present nearby or whatever. And it grants a 6+ precision strikes or precision shots to the unit that he's in, or a unit within 12 inches. Or if you do the leadership test version, you get precision strikes and shots on 5+ to the unit he's in, or a unit within 12 inches. And that can be really cool. So I'm actually thinking of using this with some Palatine Blades for my Empress Children, and having some, initiative 5 or 6 on the charge, rapiers coming in, hacking and slashing, putting those 5s and 6s on characters that I want, and then, hopefully trying to roll some murderous strike outputs from there. That's kind of what I'm looking to use it for. I just think it's cool. It's a cool way of boosting a unit, but it's not too crazy. Arguably a chaplain is probably a better choice as a close combat swing, because you're just getting all of your misses back again, right? But I kind of like the fun aspect to be like, okay, cool, I've got 5 precision strikes. I'll put this one here, these 2 on this guy, and these ones here. You know, I quite like that.
You could go with the why not both? Meme.
Yeah. Oh, well, you could. Yeah, exactly. Just because you could doesn't mean you should.
I mean, if you get a Death Star, you might as well Death Star.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's quite fun.
What about the Divider's Dart?
Yeah, I think that's a great little tool to have in your belt, right? If there's what it's like sometimes when a warlord is limping on 1 wound and he's worth a victory point, and you're like, I can't get him because I've lost everything. If you still got this guy alive, you can just snipe him, right?
Blast sergeants out with this, right? Because like it's got strength 4, but like it can just
strength 6.
That's strength 6. Sorry.
Yeah.
It could just pick sergeants out and just blast them, right? Like, so you could just start gunning down people or people's Vexillas or anything like that.
Yeah, so it doesn't need line of sight. It's 18 inches. It's got the sniper rules. So again, you can pick on one guy in particular, as Jay's describing. Be quite cool to use it teamed up with some despoilers. Like remove the character and then all your despoilers get an extra attack on the charge or something along those lines. I think there's a few cool ways you could use it, definitely.
Actually,
right.
Super interesting. That was a sneaky way of doing it. I like that.
Yeah, rather than trying to make them pin all the time, right? Because pinning's obviously the far easier option. I mean, if your goal is to get your despoilers to have the extra attack on the charge, then you're probably better off going for the telepathy one and making them pin automatically, as opposed to trying to remove sergeants and things. But yeah, that's cool. I mean, to be fair, it's actually really good at maybe using it on the way in and taking away an apothecary in certain situations and certain fights where those extra saves are going to be pivotal. There's a lot of situations where it's probably quite handy. But it's not. It's a bit like the Biomancer's Rage one. Like, it's situationally just going to be, I've got this up my sleeve. Let me just use this.
And then you're like, perfect.
Yeah, and exactly. So it's very much when the moment is right for it, it'll be really, really cool. But yeah, that's what I'm planning on using. Screw telepathy.
Cool, man. So yeah, if you guys have certain psychic powers that you like or things that you've really found effective and used, leave a comment. Let us know. I think it'll be interesting. It'll also be fun for us to come back, revisit this, and talk about the other psychic powers because, we don't see them all that often. And Pete and I are both planning on using these in upcoming events for upcoming armies. So, I mean, we'll report back too with our successes on those.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Jay says, drop a comment, leave a like, hit subscribe, go check out the Patreon if you want to help support us. That'll be always great. And thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, thanks. And check out our next video coming up after this.
Sayonara.